call the meeting to order for Thursday, May 2nd. Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin's absent. Mr. Spence?
Here.
Mrs. Foreman's absent. Administrator?
Present.
Mayor?
Here.
Solicitor?
Present.
Fiscal Officer present. Mr. Merriman?
Here.
Mr. Mattern?
Here.
Mr. Dagenko?
Here.
Everyone, please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have the minutes before you from our Thursday, April 18th meeting. A motion be in order to approve.
So moved. Second.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. I'd like to invite Mr. Evan Skirty of the Jefferson County Port Authority, who'd like to speak for council tonight. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for letting me just take a few minutes. Appreciate the outreach from Brad. Brad noticed our new newsletter that we've developed. So if any of you aren't subscribers to the Port Authority's updated newsletter, please either shoot me an email or give me a call. But again, I'm Evan Skirty, the Executive Director of the Port. We've been around for a little over 5 years now, so we're starting to get some traction and work on some substantive projects, some nice capital investments happening around the county, and trying to ramp up some marketing efforts and some site development efforts. So that's what I wanted to touch on tonight, just a few updates. Some of them are things happening in the county outside of the village, but some of it pertains right to your village, things to maybe have on your radar that you can take advantage of. Beginning with just our marketing efforts, we have various marketing materials that we send out to a variety of industries on a regular basis, but I've started to put together just this really a front and back flyer type piece. Sometimes less is more with these companies, especially in the oil and gas sector, which, as you know, is starting to heat up around here. I think the village has already seen a couple of the service companies locate in the village, serving the drilling is really happening around us now. We're becoming more and more of a focal point. We featured in this edition, it went out in April, the Shale Pro investment. This was a nice announcement in the industrial park, about 40 new jobs. Western PA headquartered company looking throughout eastern Ohio, and thankfully found that was Derek Ferguson's vacant facility in the industrial park that made great sense for them. So we just want to get that word out to other service companies. Of course, the goal of the whole valley as oil and gas really develops, and especially if and when these cracker plants come online. Of course, the Shell cracker is under construction, and then the Belmont cracker is still proposed, we think, going to go forward. Manufacturing is really poised to really boom, and plastics and chemicals especially are going to want to be in the valley next to those cracker plants. But in the meantime, there's still great opportunity for the service companies themselves, just for all the drilling. And that's what Shale Pro does. They provide direct services at the wellhead site. So again, based right here in Jefferson County. So we want to just get that word out to other prospects that things are happening, that there are still sites and even office buildings on the back. This month we featured the county towers building downtown. The commissioners have put a good amount of funds in there, brought it up to more modern standards, all new HVAC and things like that throughout that building. So we wanted to get that message out. So for the next edition, probably around early July, I'd love to feature something from the village. If you have thoughts on something that should be positioned and really broadcast out there, the great piece of property for like I said, anything from office, whether it's consultants. I'm in touch with some attorneys, environmental engineers. All those types of industries are wanting to look at the valley for a location. So please stay in touch with me on that. Again, properties to feature in that piece. Property development, redevelopment, site preparation, it's something we focus on a lot. Every community is different, but I always argue for this Port Authority, for the foreseeable future, we have to continue to have a strong redevelopment focus. We have a strong industrial legacy, a lot of properties to redevelop and get cleaned up or repositioned for new investment. So we're starting to dig into some of that work quite a bit. A couple of successes there on the south end of downtown Steubenville. We actually broke the state record, not a nice record to have, but the most tanks ever pulled from the ground from this gas station fund. Pulled 10 tanks out of the ground of this old oil warehouse and gas station site. If you're familiar with the old Staffolino dealership on South 3rd, that all those piles of dirt is because of us. So we're, I think, successfully moving that along, and the goal is to have Buster, Bureau of Underground Storage Tank, clearance on that site by the end of this year. And again, then that's repositioned for new investment. It's a great piece of property right on the State Route 7 corridor, but it's just had a lot of those environmental legacies attached to it. So we're doing that type of work. We're under contract with Holland Associates in the County Industrial Park regarding, you're probably familiar with the large piece of land at the end of the newer road. It goes between Riley, off of Technology Way, the 26-acre piece in the park. Great piece of property. I think it's one of our best opportunities to get a large, maybe another logistics firm into the community, but the big obstacle is about an acre of wetlands sitting right in the middle. So Holland Associates has a good track record of petitioning Ohio EPA for the mitigation permit to allow us to remove those wetlands, make it more shovel-ready and inviting for a new development. So that's a focus. Something I want to emphasize to all of you tonight is our US EPA fund. This is, they're federal funds. We applied with Brooke and Hancock counties about 3 years ago. There's still plenty of money in the fund. We're actually waiting on a decision maybe next month to see if the feds will put another $600,000 into the fund. But basically, it's one of these brownfield redevelopment funds. It just does free environmental assessments, including asbestos surveys. So, I was thinking things like the unfortunate fire at Touch of Elegance. If there's possible reuse of that property and the prospect is saying, well, we need to do environmental assessments to get it prepped or to satisfy the bank, or for those are the perfect types of projects we like to work on. We do have to submit every proposed study to the federal government. It's typically a high-level review. You just have to show them that there's redevelopment potential, that it's on a good, well-maintained corridor for commercial or industrial business, that you don't have to show a definite prospect, ready to buy it, ready to cut a ribbon on a new business, but just strong redevelopment potential, again, for commercial or industrial properties. So keep that in mind, asbestos and environmental phase 1 assessments. If you're not familiar with that, we can talk later about, or I can connect you with our consultant. We're under contract, the Tri-County Coalition, with civil and environmental consultants out of Pittsburgh. They do all the assessments free of charge. So if you had a property that was interested, we'll just work it through. Our committee approves it, and then the US EPA fund, we just draw down on it, and it pays direct to the consultant. So it's a really nice program for communities. So Walt or Marion, but just please follow up with me if things come to mind. And then just a quick note about the opportunity zones. You may have heard about that in the news. That's been a big buzzword, a big talking point on the national news cycle that came with the federal tax bill, the creation of these opportunity zones. They're another layer of federal tax deductions in low to moderate income census tracts. So there are none in the village. You can look at that as a good and a bad thing. It means you don't have any low to moderate income census tracts. In our county, they blanket the mill sites. The governor of the state proposed his idea of what should be the opportunity zones, and ultimately the U.S. Treasury stamped them as the official opportunity zone. So it wasn't a locally designated process. It's by the federal Treasury. And apparently they just took that heavy industry approach, because we just received the report and we're told that Yorkville, Mingo, Steubenville, the former mill sites, are the zones. But I just wanted to put it in front of you because I'm already developing a brochure that features the zones. A lot economic development offices around the country are really ramping up, putting together marketing materials saying invest in our zones, because these high net worth investors are investing in zones all over the country with projects. So it's an interesting process. It's a very attractive investment. But the reason I wanted to highlight it with you is that we will be featuring, of course, the Indian Creek story in the brochure, because even though the zones aren't in Wintersville, the argument is if you invest in Mingo, you're investing in a community with a nice new high school, part of that school district. So that's got to be a strong part of the message for anyone, because you can get tax deductions for housing, investment, industrial, any type of investment in these zones. So I just wanted to give you that heads up that you'll see the Indian Creek featured there. In addition to the marketing brochure, we're working toward a late summer seminar, bringing in some expert speakers on to tell investors how the tax deduction process works. And property owners within the zones, they can be there to really pitch their property availability for investment. So that's happening. And then just to close, we always focus as an economic development office on what we call retention and expansion, retaining businesses in the county, helping them expand. Two good small, medium-sized business success stories right now are FEX and Store System. Store System USA, the parent company you may have heard is Certwood. They're the London-based company that has some local ties, and they're building a manufacturing facility in the park. FEX in Mingo is expanding into the old Mingo Stadium. And we can talk maybe offline out of courtesy to the business. Don't want to say it publicly, but I am in touch, happened about a month ago, with a nice small business, but really in a really good growth mode that's focused on the 43 corridor. And we had a good talk about several Wintersville properties. So he said he has to gear up for some summer activities, and then he'd get back with me and ramp up that search as we head into the summer. But so we can get in touch on that. Hopefully he takes it. It sounded serious. You never know when any of these expansions are definitely going to happen, but it was a detailed discussion focusing on some sites along 43. So just want to give you that heads up.
Perfect. Any
So
questions?
that's it.
Mr. Matter?
Mr. Scurry, thanks for showing up. I don't have perfect attendance here, but I do believe this is probably one of the first updates we've got from anybody from the Port Authority, so that's very informative. Thank you.
Sure.
Anything that puts Wintersville in a positive light, we're definitely all for. A lot of people up here on this board and out there in the audience today put a lot of work into this community, and we appreciate that light. You made a little chuckle about underground storage tanks. I've had to deal with a few in my time. Sometimes you got to take a step backwards to take 2 steps forward, and that's what you're facing with a lot of those. I work over in Half Moon Industrial Park over there in Weirton, West Virginia, and I participate in their every other month meeting. And there's a guy over there by the name of Pat Ford who speaks highly of you, and he keeps us updated on shovel-ready projects. Okay, you had that term. It's a hot commodity in this area. Pat is Mr. Scurdy's same role over in Brooke and Hancock County. Does a wonderful job over there. He updates us on how the chemical industry is looking at this area, metallurgical additives. Bedell's looking for a bunch of welders and stuff. So this area is prime for a lot of businesses to be coming on into this area. And there's a lot of very interested parties that are out there looking for opportunities that Mr. Scurdy can provide. So we're very appreciative of your efforts, and keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Seriously, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Welcome
you.
anytime.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak before council tonight? Seeing none, we'll move forward.
The only
Go ahead.
thing is, one thing,
Yeah,
the Rita thing, did Walt?
it's on the list. It's on the list for today. It's on the list for today's meeting. Thank you. Reports and announcements. You have the,
I need
I'm
an
sorry.
ordinance read. Tammy didn't put it on.
Where is it?
I gave everybody a copy. Here.
Where'd you put it? I don't have it.
I don't have it.
We had
Okay.
first read last meeting. I wasn't
Oh,
here.
okay, yeah, I was going to say, okay. This is resolution number 2019-07, a resolution authorizing the Village of Wintersville to apply and accept and enter into a water pollution fund agreement on behalf of the Village of Wintersville for construction of the sanitary sewer system rehabilitation project Phase 5 and designate a dedicated repayment source for the loan. That's the second read? Do we need it?
Yes, I need both.
Motion to
Okay.
suspend the rules.
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Dekenkop?
Yay.
Third read 2019-07 is a resolution authorizing the Village of Wintersville to apply, accept, and enter into a water pollution fund agreement on behalf of the Village of Wintersville for the construction of the sanitary sewer system rehabilitation project, Phase 5, and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan. Third read.
Motion to approve ordinance 2019-07.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Dekenkop?
Yay.
Thank you. Now, the magistrate's report. Is that it?
Okay.
Okay, all right. As for the month of April, total received $9,048.61. The village received $7,107.06. State $1,348.37. Other $593.18. You have monies collected in April for the old fines of $1,753.22, bringing a total to the year of $7,212, and the total since we began this program to $89,294.92. And again, I must I commend the chief and the young ladies for their work and due diligence. This is $89,000, right? I was told at one point we could never collect. And we've collected $89,000. So thank them for me, okay? Appreciate it.
Job, Chief.
You have the police report for the month of April. You have 168 complaints, 268 incoming calls, 14 accidents, 24 cases, 12 alarm calls, 18 juvenile cases, 27 arrests, 4 other arrests, 10 parking violations, 4 vehicle impounds, 5 out-of-town assistance, 8 auxiliary hours, 2 canine uses. And you have the code enforcement report, 15 licenses, $750, 14 permits for $545. Just as a note, next week, the code enforcement officer will be going out and getting a list of those properties that have not either been cut or maintained or have had garbage that has not been cleaned up. Okay, so he's been given that initiative next week. We're getting everybody this weekend. You know, it's into May. I think everybody should have been able to cut their grass at least once by now. So we'll have that information. We'll give them time to do it. And again, it'll only be one warning, and then it'll be cited in court the rest of the year. So just to give everybody a heads up. Just like to everyone to keep their thoughts and prayers with our public works supervisor and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Poole, with the loss of their son. It's a very trying time. So I would just ask that you please be patient with some of the things that may not get done in a timely manner over the next week or so, but we'll do our best to keep up with things. This is a very difficult time for them, so we just pray for them. Administrator.
First item on your report is RETA delinquency program. I've highlighted a little bit. We do it every other year. 2 parts. They send out letters, and then if people do not respond, then they issue subpoenas. There's no cost for the letters, but the subpoena, it's $8 per each subpoena mailed. Generally, I believe sometime September or October, they will come here upstairs and bring in all the people and try and resolve any of the issues and or set up payment plans. And then it can go on further after that with some other legal matters. Second item in there, received from the engineering firm regarding the new Indian Creek High School in Bantam Ridge. They did a traffic impact study. I basically highlighted just what referred to Caddis Road in the village. A little better than 11,000 vehicles a day passing through there. Some backups, but the issues aren't considered significant. They don't believe with any added school traffic there'll be any significant impacts to the roadways. Into the high school, we already have the center left turn lane. The traffic study did allow a warrant for that, but since we already have the road, the turn lane, I mean, nothing needs to be done. Any future conditions, they don't expect any additional impacts on any adverse impacts on the roadway. So the study is probably 75 or 80 pages of charts and
This is insane.
graphs. So
Seriously, this is stupid.
This is
because the number's going to go down on Caddis Road. The number's going to go up astronomically on Bantam Ridge Road, where it's going to become an issue. I mean, I don't know what factors they put into this, but Bantam Ridge is going to, I see no problem for us. It's going to go down. There's a whole elementary building is leaving, so all those cars will not be coming. They'll be going down Bantam Ridge, which is a two-lane road, so, but, okay. Thank you.
That's that. Okay, thank you for doing the construction loan resolution. I did an emergency purchase with gum bars for economizer for the air conditioner down at the police department. It would be between $1,500 and $2,000. The air conditioner had been used a lot through the winter, and they were worried about damaging the compressor, which would be significantly more money. I believe it's been installed, but I haven't received a final invoice yet, but it will not exceed the $2,000 mark. Summer Parks program will begin June the 17th, a Monday, through August 9th, a Friday, same as last year, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will get the letters, the information out to the schools within the next week or so they can pass them out to the proper grades. I'll be saying this the next two meetings. Our hydrant flushing all over the village will be from Sunday, May 19th to Friday, May 24th, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And residents may experience low pressure and or discolored water. This will be our spring flush, and then we do another one in the fall. The bad news is the last item. The 2019-20 salt bids came in from ODOT. The little sheet just says they plan to award the contract next week. All they sent out was an email with the apparent low bids for each county. I don't know who the low bidder was, but the low bid for Jefferson was $95.64 a ton, which is an increase of $28 a ton, which if we buy all 1,500 ton, we'd be looking at about another $43,000. So instead of 100,000, we'd be looking at 142 if we bought everything. I looked through the list. Lake County, which is where it's generally mine, was the low at $63 a ton. Shelby County, which is one county in from the Indiana border, was $99.58 a ton. So that was the range. And as again, we, requested 1,500 ton, we have to purchase 90% of that to fulfill the contract.
Well, again, we'll look at this during budget time.
Right, and that's all I
It is
have.
what it is. You have this.
Oh, yes. I think I gave everyone a copy. Talked with the people at ODOT regarding beacons, signals for the Jefferson County Christian School on Fernwood. There was some either disagreement or misunderstandings. The beacons are not needed to, and I don't want to seem at odds with the chief, but ODOT says they do not need beacons to write tickets for speeding. They have them on other areas, on rural roads, and the signs with hours of the school and everything are sufficient. However, the school wants the beacons. This is what ODOT uses for on state roads. He told me to amend it, take out some of the state language, put in our roads, and then have the agreement between the village and Jefferson County Christian School. So,
Again, this has been going on for a couple of years. When they came to us asking us to purchase these lights for them, and we basically said that's really their responsibility, but we assisted them in finding and obtaining them through the county, had actual extra ones. I know we did talk about this where they could have just put a sign up, which would have done this without these. But since they received them and everything, which is great, they were donated, they'll be putting them up. We just need approval from council to, the solicitor has reviewed this contract, to allow us to go into contract with them for them to put these lights up based on the various conditions set forth and upon their signature. So once they agree and sign, then I just need a privilege to sign the contract from council. So a motion be in order to support this contract with the school.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Dakenko?
Yay.
Thank you. So the administration will get this over to them. Once they've signed it, then I will sign it on behalf of the village. So let's try to get that done before May, because we want to have this all installed before the school year starts.
Okay.
All right? Thank you. That's all.
That's all I have, correct.
Thank you. Anything for the administration? Seeing none. Is there any old business? I don't believe so. No old business. New business. Mr. Spence.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Becker.
No, sir.
Ms. Jean Angel.
No, sir.
Mr. Merriman.
No, sir.
Mr. Mattern.
Had a couple of things. Went to the Jefferson County Regional Planning meeting last week, and Walt, they pretty much advised that the last of the housing demolition monies has to be exhausted this year, so if we have any additional opportunities, we need to get those grants in as soon as possible. I know we have a couple underway, but if we have any additional, we need to get chopping on that now because they have to exhaust that money.
He has them. He's sending, there's
Send in.
three?
Three.
Three properties on Old Main Street down behind the Pepinos that we're sending in. Okay?
Perfect.
Again, they haven't had water since when? At least 2-3 years.
Oh, more than
Yeah,
that.
so we're going to turn those in again, let them do their due diligence to see, what can be done, or if they're held up for some reason. So
Perfect.
We do have those three. Again, I don't know of any others. I mean, if anybody knows of any, please let us know. But I think, we have the one on Sabina, the one in Beechwood that we've been talking about, and these three. And we've already had a few torn down over the last couple of years. So by all means, if you know of any, let us know.
Seven Ranges Fire District meeting next Wednesday. Bob, I'll be there if you're not. Is the speed sensor up and running yet?
It's
not
charged. I
Yeah, I don't know if
don't
it's
think
charged
we've
or
put it out anywhere.
Okay. Whenever
I can,
that does get up and running, I understand we're a little busy right now. Whenever that does come on up, it'd be nice to get it back into Beechwood and Starkey. I had a couple residents come on up and some concerns about some speeders back in that area, Chief, so it'd be nice if we could make a little presence back here with
We'll get it
that.
there. And again, as we've said in the past, when we pave these roads, people drive faster.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we will get them over there as well. So
And again, just to repeat what the mayor said earlier, thoughts and prayers to Tina and Perry Poole and the immediate friends and family of Brandon Poole. That's it.
thank you. Mr. Dagenkolb.
No new business, sir.
Thank you. I see no transfers, correct?
Correct.
Motion to pay the bills?
So moved?
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor, and, I'm sorry, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Dakenkopf?
Yay.
Before we adjourn, again, it's a little bit early, but June will be here before you know it, and then July will be here before you know it. July 4th is a Thursday, first Thursday of the month. I'd like to we only have one meeting that month. I'd like to move it to July 11th. And again, we could go later, but I'm afraid if something occurs, we have to cancel. I'd like to get the meeting in and get all the business done earlier in the month. So I think it'd be now if we could set that meeting to July 11th. Motion be in order.
So move.
Second.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Spence?
Yay.
Mr. Merriman?
Yay.
Mr. Mattern?
Yay.
Mr. Dakenkopf?
Yay.
The other thing, did you put the garbage stuff in the sanitation stuff to clean for the pickup in her packet?
no, I just made a copy.
For her? Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get that, we'll get that to the newspaper again, reminding of the cleanup in June. We provided a list. If you need a list, what is not taken, we can get that to council. As I've stated in the past, healthcare reasons, we do not take mattresses. However, any resident can drop the mattresses off and dump them in a dumpster. So they can take them, we just can't have our employees for health reasons, grab them. So we've always stated, take them over there. So if we see them, typically what will happen, if there's anything on the list that's left out, we won't take, they'll put a note, they'll take that note and put it on their door so they know why it wasn't taken. So, again, there's an ordinance against people going through the village picking up the trash. Okay, again, our stance has pretty much been, even though we have an ordinance that doesn't allow it, as long as they're keeping it clean and the pile's clean, you know what, we won't cite them. Okay, so it's cheaper for them to take the garbage than for us to take it. So, again, if it gets out of hand, then the police will cite them. All right?
Isn't there a limit on that also?
There's it's a unit, and if not, it's a fee of
Dump
what,
truckload
$250? It's per
Plus the tonnage.
tonnage.
Yeah, 250 plus the tonnage, yes.
And again, if that happens, they will not pick it up on their first route. They'll take pictures and advise the resident, this
much
is what's
it's
going to
gonna
happen.
cost.
The cost before we take it. So
What is the cost on that? Roughly, just,
It's 60-something a ton.
Plus the
250.
it's
So,
400, put close to
yeah.
400.
okay.
All right, thank you. Motion to adjourn until May 16th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, meeting adjourned.